This walkthrough describes how to use SpinetiX HMD to create a simple touchscreen project using the supplied interactivity templates. You should be running Hypermedia Director version 2.2.3 or later, which can be downloaded from spinetiX.com/go/HMD. Interactivity requires a basic understanding of the shared variables principles, which you can learn more about on the SpinetiX support wiki at support.spinetiX.com. Search for keyword shared variables. For this project I've prepared 3 image assets. You can use any images. First, create a new project which is going to be called Interactive Touch. Leave the other settings as default and move the image asset into the project folder. In the project folder, HMD has also created the default index.svg file and the default layer, which we can delete. And as usual, we're going to change the background color from the Properties tab into something light to better see the content in the foreground. For this project, we're going to be using 2 of the templates in the My Templates folder. One of them, the Menu Media template, will display one of our images. The Menu Buttons template will show 3 interactive areas of the screen which can be touched or clicked with the mouse and will change the image that's displayed. Both of these templates are in the Interactivity folder. Drag each template into the preview window. Careful to not replace the first template, but add. And because these are dragged from the templates folder, HMD will have created working copies back in the project folder tab. Both the menu buttons and the menu media template contain some default content which we're going to delete and start fresh. First, open menu buttons, select this single layer and delete. Likewise in menu media, delete these 2 default layers. Save our document and you should have an entirely blank stage on your index.svg file. I'm going to expand the 2 templates to make best use of the screen we have available. In the Menu Buttons template, I'm going to create 3 simple text button placeholders. Add a text layer in the same way you would do any multi-layer document, and we're going to call this image 1. We're also going to add a border stroke of, say, a blue color, and we can copy this hex color value to use with the other 2 buttons. So again, right click, insert text. This is going to be image 2, and the border stroke, paste the color value I used previously. And the third button, image 3. You can also use actual image files in place of these text boxes. We've now 3 buttons which we're going to use to update the shared variable shared between the 2 templates. Menu media is still empty, and into menu media we're going to drag our 3 image assets just as if we were dragging them into a standard playlist. At this point, in the page ID column, we're going to add a value which will correspond to the value of the shared variable that we'll assign to each button. So I'm going to call these A1, A2 and A3. On the Properties tab of the Menu Media template, we're checking that the instant messaging variable is set to menu. This is the default. If you're using multiple combinations of templates in your project, you should make sure they're set to different shared variables to avoid a conflict. This means that when the shared variable menu is updated to A1, our first image will be displayed, A2 the second image, and A3 the third image. When I press apply, you'll see that by default the first image is displayed, as that's also set by default in properties. Back in the menu buttons template, also first verify that we're using the same shared variable, menu. In the action ID column for each button, we're going to assign the corresponding value. When each button receives a touch or click, it will update the menu shared variable with this value. At this point, we can publish this project to a hypermedia player connected to a touchscreen, for example, or in HMD we can use the interactivity mode feature, which allows us to preview interactive content using the mouse and keyboard or any HID device connected to the local machine. By enabling interactive mode, I can no longer edit the content. By pressing image 2 now, the menu media template updates to display image 2 and correspondingly image 3. Image 1 takes me back to the first image. This is a simple way of displaying dynamic content depending on an input from a touch device. The interactivity folder also contains many other templates that can be used with the mouse and keyboard. For more information about interactivity, search the SpinetiX support wiki at support.spinetix.com for keyword interactivity.